Welcome into the Sources A podcast, your go-to Kentucky basketball podcast on the KSR Podcast Network, presented by Club Blue. Club Blue is the official collective partner of the University of Kentucky, and presented by the Otega Oweh fan club. Jack Pilgrim here with Zack Geoghegan once again on our Nashville rooftop patio in the KSR headquarters here.
A little warmer today.
At the SEC tournament. It's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
It feels
good
to be here instead of driving back. I'm sure we'd probably be home right now. We might have just gone straight.
There was about a 90-second span last night where I think we all were very prepared to currently be on the road back home to Louisville right now.
I would have just gotten in the car and just left straight. Like, I mean, no.
Leave us here. That's fine. I would have completely understood,
walked.
actually.
I would have deserved the walk.
Yeah.
You know?
And we'll get into the nitty-gritty details of the near collapse in a second, but...
How about Otega?
That's all we really need to talk about.
So, Savior
of the day, once again.
So, there was a long wait. The fan base got a little intoxicated, had a little bit of fun.
Could you blame them?
A lot of time for some day drinking, as I think we finally tipped off at what became 10:30 Eastern time.
It might have been even a little bit after that, like 10:35-ish Eastern time.
Whatever it was ridiculous. SEC, come on! Like, why are we starting games at 12 Central Time instead of 11 Central Time? Who is arguing against pushing it up 1 hour? There's nobody out there. We don't need to be playing basketball games that late. We didn't get back to our Airbnb till like 3.
It was 3:30, I think. Yeah,
Central Time. So we're running on like 3
hours.
Taco
Bell was open though. Thank goodness they were.
You're exactly right. It was an unbelievable start. Kentucky jumps out to an 8-0 run to start the game. BBN on a different planet, something that you just have to feel it to know what that is like. And just Bridgestone Arena, the roof about to cave in from 98% Big Blue Nation, a sea of blue in there. I have never felt anything like it. It just felt like this was already an all-time year for BBN. Every single game, Kentucky fans showed out at Rupp Arena, and they finally got like the most passionate portion of those fans in that building. It was just a really, really cool start. And then very luckily, we get an all-time finish as well. We get the all-time pop to start the game, and then an all-time pop to end the game, Zach.
Yes, so the very first, that 8-0 stretch in the first 2 minutes, it was like what you said, just everything you said there, Jack, it's all those pieces kind of combined is what helped that, like, new coach, new era. You have John Calipari openly saying multiple times this week that he doesn't care about the SEC tournament. Kentucky fans care so much about this event. They wanted so desperately for them to come out and play well, especially in this first game, get that kind of that weight off their shoulders. First SEC tournament win since 2022. First one in Nashville since 19, correct?
2019.
Since 2019. So the fans were desperate for this one, and that's why you saw the 8-0 run and that pop. And of course, you have these are your ultra diehard fans as well. I mean, we were on press row right there, and behind us the whole time, it was like you could barely. There was one point I think I said on the rapid reaction, my ear was ringing because people were just so deafeningly loud.
Nobody
behind us.
Knitting and reading books in the lower level, if you will.
Not much sitting either. Lots of standing. So that really was awesome. That pop was something that I'll remember for a long time. Very cool moment there for Kentucky fans. But then Oklahoma said, "We're not going away that easy." They made it a game.
A game all-time
game.
Collapse to the point of
the collapse aside, it was a fun game.
It really was fun. The big talking point, obviously the short-term fun was Otega in his game winner, but the lasting impact is Lamont Butler. He goes down, basically at the end of the first quarter.
He's around the 9-minute range when he ended up
10
going
minutes
out.
Into the game, he goes down, re-aggravates his shoulder, and then you could just tell the flip switched where Jeremiah Fears, that boy was in hell.
He was 1 for 9 to start that game.
Lamont
Finished
Butler,
10 for 22.
I mean, Lamont just had him in the gulag. I mean, you could tell a guy like one of the most confident players in the SEC. He was just rattled. You could visibly see him second guessing every single thing that he did, like just kind of keeping Lamont in his peripheral, just making sure that he always had an eye out for Lamont. And then once Lamont goes down, it was like, all right, now I can be Jeremiah Fears again. He takes the game over. What was a great lead for the Cats. It becomes a back and forth there in the second half. You get some, cushion there down the stretch. able to pull off a double-digit lead in the last minute 26 down to the 6-second mark was something that I hope I never see again, Zach.
Yeah, so it was once Lamont went out, and we've praised Colin Chandler's defense over the last however many weeks, but he's no Lamont Butler. And that I think Jeremiah Fears immediately recognized that, and he started to go to work a little bit more, being more aggressive, trying to get to the rim. Like, he was just kind of firing up a bunch of threes early on, just was not hitting any. I think he started 1 for 7 from 3, still only finished 2 for 11, so the actual three-point defense on him was fine, but really started to get in the lane more, get more free throws, just make life a little bit easier for himself without Lamont on him. And that's really when the game flipped, and it was kind of just a back and forth. Kentucky kind of mostly controlled the momentum. I know late in the first half, Oklahoma kind of made a nice run there to take the lead, but Kentucky always had counters, and then, like you said, we all three of us, Steven behind the camera as well, we all just rewatched the game, and we're trying to figure out, like, there's 4 minutes left, Kentucky's up by 10. We're like, man, 2 minutes left, Kentucky's up by 12. Man, how did the 90 seconds left, Kentucky's up by 10. It's like, man, how did they actually blow this game, or almost blow this game? And then you see how they just kind of fumble away, a couple of really bad turnovers, one from Amari, one from Otega, 2 from Otega, I believe there. Yeah, one bad one from Amari. I don't even remember what else happened in that. I know there's those 3 big turnovers, though.
Amari, Carr,
yeah,
and
Carr
Otega
gets just absolutely mugged on that. I mean, I don't know how you don't even. I mean, I would even be fine with them calling a jump ball at that point over just not letting that, or calling nothing. So some frustration in terms of the officials down the stretch there. But yeah, none of it matters because you've got the Sooner killer coming in for the second straight time, 27 points to finish the game for Otega Oweh. Lived at the free throw line, 9 for 10, 5 assists, 4 boards, 8 for 14. He had 16 second half points. Not quite his 18 straight that we saw in Norman, but my goodness, this guy, he loves this moment. He loves playing his old team. And Brandon Garrison even had a nice little stretch there at the end against his, well, he's from Oklahoma, not his former school, but from that area.
That the Jeremiah Fears go ahead, what could have been the game winner, it had a feeling, Zach, of like just the karma of what Otega did to the Sooners in Norman.
Yeah.
It felt like
payback.
Otega hits his game winner to go up 1 with 6 seconds left in Norman. They aren't able to hit the game winner on the other side to respond. Kentucky leaves Norman with a big-time victory. This felt like just the way the game was playing out. It just had that feeling of it's not our day. It's fate. Like the
Is
basketball
Kentucky
gods
ever going to win a tournament game ever again?
The basketball gods were just willing. It wasn't meant to be. When Jeremiah Fears drives, finishes at the rim, 6 seconds to go, like almost identical fashion of Otega's, and like just the time of the game, the momentum. It was just like, well, now we have to face the reality of going home after one night. And so, like, where was your mind in that specific moment, knowing
hell.
like just the no, how did we get to this point? And like the reality of the magnitude of the situation hitting you in the face in that very moment.
In that very moment, I mean, a lot was going on in my head. I think the moment where I was like, man, they really might blow this was when Jeremiah Fears hit the 3 to make it 83-80. And then Kentucky goes on to turn it over a couple times from there. That's when I was like, man, they actually might kind of blow this game. But when I saw Otega just sprinting down the side there, I really don't remember what I was thinking, to be perfectly honest with you. I was thinking, how the hell am I going to finish this recap? Because I'm going to be 15 minutes behind because I have no idea how this game's going to end, even still with 5 seconds left. But it is kind of funny. You note how the similarities to the last game in Norman, where Otega hits that shot to go up with 6 seconds left. Jeremiah Fears hits that shot to go up with 6 seconds left. Jeremiah Fears runs down the other side to try and win it for Kentucky. Otega blocks him. Otega comes down to win it for Kentucky. No one can block that shot because that shot is not supposed to go in, first of all. That is an impossible shot the more we watched it over and over again on the replay, it's like, man, driving to his right. What was the quote that he had about Jason Hart? He said, Jason Hart tells me when I got a guy on my hip, just keep pushing him. Give yourself enough cushion that you can get yourself to a rim, straight line. And then he goes up and shoots a left-handed. Have we seen him shoot a left-handed floater all season long?
And look,
from behind, he was fading out of bounds.
Folks, I love Otega.
His head was behind the backboard.
Otega is our king this season. Like we're living and dying by Otega Oweh. I love him to death. Not the most graceful finisher in the world.
No, that's putting it nicely
not
with him,
necessarily a main strength of his. For me, as many things as he does well, touch around the rim can get problematic at times. So
he gets sped up a lot.
So when you think of the momentum carrying him out of bounds, just getting downhill. I mean, he was like a jet, just kind of like soaring through the sky, guiding down the right sideline, and just his momentum carry. It reminds me of that LeBron shot where he's shooting it from behind the basket, where he just lifts, and it just like, how in that moment, a guy who isn't known for his touch, to have like he couldn't have been more just graceful with the touch. He gets it to fall. Somehow it goes over Jalon Moore's outstretched hand.
Yeah.
And it just sinks in. And you'd watch it, and you're like, that's not physically impossible. Like, physics don't even allow that ball from that angle to go in. But he made it look so easy because Otega just does things time and time again that are so unbelievably difficult that he makes look so easy. And I asked Kobe Bray, I asked some of the Amari Williams, I asked,
some of the response from the teammates were awesome.
Like, what is the degree of difficulty of that shot from your angle, from where you were sitting? And they were all like, you have no idea like how difficult it is in that moment, in that situation, to convert that shot. And that's just
what was Colin Chandler's line?
He said it's a movie.
Sequel.
All you can do is just sit back, watch the movie, and enjoy it. Grab some popcorn, and know that you are living in the Otega Oweh game Part 2.
Yeah,
it just very cool. I loved. Sorry, I just nailed you.
I'm injured
You're
forever.
Gonna start bleeding like Colin Chandler.
We'll get to him in a second.
Yeah, but Otega Oweh just trying to just put into words that moment, just like the storyline, like his former team, second game winner. The degree of difficulty, Mark Pope trusting you to just say, get the ball to Otega Oweh and get the hell out of the way. And he was just like, God, man, he's wild.
That was a great quote. Yes, God, he's wild. He is. Otega was a great quote. Well, he had another one about Colin Chandler we'll talk about in a second. But so kind of lost in Otega's game winners, 2 for 3 from 3. That's huge. He hit 2 massive ones. I think one of his second 3 was the one that really sparked that 10 or 11-0 run that put Kentucky up by a dozen, where Brandon Garrison caps off with a dunk, and you were like, okay, Kentucky's going to win this one easy. And then
where are we celebrating?
We know what happened from there, but 9 for 10 from the free throw line as well. Huge free throws. Kentucky missed 7 free throws, and for him to go 9 for 10, I think that was massive as well. So and 5 assists. I mean, he had foul trouble in the second half as well. 36 minutes played. Just I can't even say the word. Hercules. Why can't I? How do you say Hercules, but with EAN at the end? Herculean? There we go. Yep. Herculean effort from Otega Oweh. My God. That's a weird word, yeah. Just amazing stuff. I don't know how Kentucky's going to be able to respond against Alabama. I mean, it's just we can talk about that whole matchup later or now if we want, but it's going to be what, a 20-hour turnaround between end of game and tip-off because of how late that game started, because you had the double overtime and game winners yesterday. So that's really what pushed things back. So hopefully we aren't starting at 10:35 tonight, and we can start this game before ideally 10 o'clock, but we shall see.
We'll absolutely be talking about that. But first, we got to talk about our friends at SeatGeek.
Let's hear it.
SeatGeek,
they've been helping us out all week.
Yeah, they showed out in the first round. Time to show out for them once again. You know why you're here. It's the SEC tournament. It's time for Kentucky to go on a run. We'll see how far that run looks like, but for now, we get to celebrate another big-time win, and you can celebrate with our friends at SeatGeek. That's why I want to give today's sponsor, SeatGeek, a massive shout-out. With over 28 million downloads, SeatGeek is the #1 rated ticketing app. There are more than 70,000 events listed on SeatGeek, including sports, concerts, festivals, and more. But March Madness is here. SEC Tournament is here. That's why you are here with SeatGeek. Let's go see what the prices are looking like right now. But why do you love our friends at SeatGeek?
I love our friends at SeatGeek because they were kind enough to sponsor this for our KSR's entire tournament run. Hopefully that just continues on, and we can continue to promote SeatGeek. But I know that they were selling tickets for the games last night for like $39, I think, was one last night, which was incredible if you could have gotten into that game for that amount of price. So I'm sure they're going to be a little bit more expensive no matter where you go tonight, because
evening session, we can get in for $144.
Still not bad. You take that.
You get the preview. You get the little appetizer with Florida and Missouri. You can see the app right here with my cracked phone. I've got to.
When did that happen?
I
didn't even notice that.
It's been a couple weeks. I got to go to the Apple store. I just figured we're going into March Madness. Didn't really have time to fit in an Apple stop, but
good luck. Tom.
You can fit in a stop with our friends at SeatGeek. $144 for the evening session. You get Florida Mizzou as the appetizer, and you get to close out with the Cats and the Crimson Tide. Make sure you go hang out with our friends at SeatGeek. Yeah, that's why I came through for you guys. You can use code KSR10 for 10% off your next set of tickets at SeatGeek. That's 10% off any tickets with promo code KSR10. Transitioning to Alabama, what the matchup looks like tonight, I believe the line opened at 5.5. I think it's spread now to 7.
Oh, wow.
So how much of that do you think is Lamont Butler's status? And I guess we got to talk just kind of the dynamic of you survived, you advanced, but that is just like the massive gray cloud hanging over this team right now.
Yeah, and we still have no idea the severity of Lamont's injury. I'm sure a lot of you have probably seen the Kerr Kriisa clip where Lamont is kind of whispering what happens, and Kerr kind of gives the, that's not what I wanted to hear from you right now. So, but that can go however many ways. So we'll see. The injury report will come out later tonight, probably around 6, 7, 8 o'clock Central
2 hours
time.
Before tip-off.
Yeah, so we'll get one there and we'll find out. But, I don't think anyone's really expecting him to play tonight. And if we're being perfectly honest, it would be kind of malpractice, I think, if he does play, because if that guy has a chance to actually come back and be healthy, you would much rather it be a week from now when they're playing in the NCAA tournament as opposed to this game against Alabama, which it matters. Yes, we love the SEC tournament. It's a lot of fun, but you don't want to risk losing him in this type of game where ultimately you're the underdog. It's the situation is a little bit different than it was against Oklahoma, but it's going to put a lot more pressure on Colin Chandler to kind of be that guy on defense. Like we were talking about, he's a solid defender, but going up against a guy like Jeremiah Fears was tough. I don't know how they'll defend Mark Sears just because he's so much smaller. That could be a tough matchup at 6'5" for Colin Chandler to do that. Shout out to Colin Chandler as well. Got absolutely elbowed straight in the eye. No foul review or monitor look at, even a thought of it as well. Got 3 stitches on that eye and ended up still playing some pretty big minutes for Kentucky last night. So they're going to really need that again today. It'll be very interesting to see if Lamont doesn't play, is Colin starting? You could almost justify putting Kobe at the lead guard right now just because he's been so good at kind of dealing with double screens off those ball screens. Yeah, he's really good at just dishing the ball off, knowing when to shoot. He still wanted to see maybe shoot a little bit more. What was he last night? He was 4 for 7 from deep. If there's no Lamont Butler, Kobe probably just needs to shoot 10 threes. We're to the point now, it's I don't even care how he gets them. You just got to have that threat there. And then if you got someone like Ainsley Almanor, who came in, had a big offensive rebound and putback. Trent Noah had a putback as well. So you've got guys that can come in and maybe help clean up some of the slack if Kobe's shots aren't falling there. But I don't know really how you go about the rotation and all this. We were elated yesterday when we were talking that first Oklahoma game, that was all those weird circumstances, injuries, up and downs, guys in and out, and now we're kind of in the exact same situation again with the 5th point guard of the season where, Travis Perry probably isn't going to be the guy that Pope wants to throw out there because we saw what happens when Travis Perry is the main guy on Mark Sears. We saw that, what was that, 2-3 weeks ago in Tuscaloosa. So it's going to be tough. There's definitely a reason that they are that big of a favorite.
And can we just also address that that was one of the main talking points going into the game? Why we liked the Oklahoma matchup? Why me specifically, the moron with the microphone right now, talking about just I would rather not play the tough physical matchup that they'd like to play a brand of football that
I'd rather play the worst team.
So I said, I know that Oklahoma is more talented, but you at least can feel comfortable that you're going to get out of that game at full strength.
10 minutes
Stupid
in.
take, dumb take, Jack. You're a moron. And now Lamont Butler, the exact thing that we were worried about. Again,
that was the reason people didn't want to play Georgia, and now
we want to win the SEC tournament. That's priority number 1, but priority number 2. Maybe even a little bit more of a priority is getting
1A, 1B situation.
Getting through healthy. You just wanted to get through at full strength. That's not the case, and now you just have to just see it. And I think Pope understands kind of just where the fans are coming. Like, he wants to win this event for the fans. He knows how much it means to the fans, how long it's been since they've won. The players have that same buy-in with this event too. Mm-hmm. But there is you do have to move the goalposts now with this, the rest of this weekend, just going, you can't risk it anymore with Lamont Butler if there is even a slight door opening for him to play, knowing if he can play in the NCAA tournament, you put all your chips in on that, and you just kind of get by. See how much you can survive in advance. Things are going to get weird. Things are going to get wonky with the lineups and who's playing and what roles they're playing. It's going to be double big. Amari bringing the ball to the floor. It's going to get weird.
Yeah.
I just see if you can win a couple games. See if you can, work some magic. If there's a couple upsets throughout the day today, tomorrow, just get by and hope and pray that Lamont can come back next week and beyond.
Yeah, and I think Kentucky has a chance in this game. I don't think it's like just a foregone conclusion that they're going to, kind of lose this game and get blown out and all that. But it definitely, like as our friend Brandon Ramsey likes to say, you kind of have to suspend expectations just a little bit when you lose a guy as important as Lamont Butler and you're literally down your 3 primary ball handlers, which is just like, when you say it out loud, it just sounds ridiculous. Like, Kentucky should not be in the position they are right now with all those injuries, and that doesn't even include Andrew Carr's whole situation, who started off the game pretty well. He's like Carr and Williams; those are guys that you kind of expect to have big games against Alabama because they've done it before. Andrew Carr did it in the last one. The Grant Nelson matchup, he was good in the first game, not good in the second game. That's not a matchup I'm worried about in terms of like Grant Nelson being the guy that beats Kentucky again, because I don't think he's had like 20 points since he had the 25-point game against Kentucky that first time. So it's just going to be tough. But I still think Kentucky definitely has more than a puncher's chance of winning this game.
And how much do you think being able to have the fan base on your side? You're going to get more Alabama fans tonight than there were Oklahoma fans yesterday, mm-hmm. but it's still going to be what, 80-20, you think? I think it's going to be pretty overwhelming. How much do you think that plays into Kentucky's chances?
It'll definitely help because, as we saw last night, the crowd really, and even some of the players were talking about at postgame, they said, because Pope's really big about instilling that in them, being like, hey, we're here to win, but we're also here to win for the fans and the university and all that. And the players, a handful of them really mentioned that in the postgame press conference. So I don't think I'm sure some of it is a little bit of talk and like, hey, we're going to give some love publicly for him, but I do think that's part of it. They know how much the fans can actually help them and push them in the momentum. I'm looking back here at the last game that Kentucky played against Alabama. All these games running, you really don't know what's going on. Lamont wasn't in that game, and I remember Kentucky they started that game, they were up dozen points.
12-4 was the start, and
I think they got up by more double digits at one point early in that first half.
They were up 12, right?
I think they were off to a really great start in that game. Like, I'm looking at the numbers now. Amari had 17, 11, and 6. You've got Andrew Carr with 17 points, Kobe Bray with 20 points. That was the game Otega had 2 points. You kind of expect that to not happen again. I don't know. Actually, hold on. Was that? I'm trying to look. Okay, so that was the 2-point Alabama game was the one before his Oklahoma game. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if that plays or if that even matters at all. I just wanted to actually do that research on my own on the fly right now. But yes, you don't expect Otega to score 2 points again like he did in that first time. Kobe Bray has just been great. He had 20 points last night, 22 last night. He had 20 in that last game against Alabama as well. I'm looking at Travis Perry. Had 12 points in that game. He was 1 for 7 from 3, but did pretty well getting to the rim and stuff like that. I think you're going to see, yesterday we were kind of talking about maybe shortening the rotation. I think the rotation actually maybe gets a little bit longer now because you're down to 9 guys technically. Yep. So I think you're going to see all 9 guys play just like you did in that first or in that most recent matchup. I'm looking at the stats now. In that last game against Alabama, every available rotation player played 10 minutes. Ainsley Almenor was the smallest at 10 minutes. So you have everyone else. Everyone's going to contribute. Colin Chandler had a big these guys aren't going to be afraid of the moment and playing this Alabama team. There is something to be said about the whole. It's hard to beat the same team 3 times in a season. I also just think that sometimes a team is just better than you, and it's going to be hard to overcome that talent gap 3 times in one season, and Kentucky hasn't been able to do it yet. But having the crowd behind them will definitely help. You've got, I don't know. What do you think about in terms of fatigue? Does it kind of help to have all that pent-up energy that, like, maybe from last night they're ready to get out there and go play again because they're like, all right, we just did all that yesterday? Or is it like, man, they just wasted all that energy doing all that? How are they going to come out? Does that impact your thinking at all about this game in terms of the quick turnaround?
That's why you have an expanded rotation, to kind of avoid some of these potential struggles where, if the downside of Kobe Brea playing 37 minutes yesterday and Otega Oweh playing 36, that kind of plays to Mark Pope's point of like, well, guys, that's why I haven't been running them into the ground and why I've been trying to keep their legs as fresh as possible, because of the system that they run and how much cutting and off-ball movement and things that it's tough. Without Lamont, it's just going to be tough, guys. Like you hate to just kind of move the goalposts and have to adjust your expectations, but you really do just kind of have to hope and pray that things,
We'd be a lot more confident if Lamont was in this game. This episode would be a lot different.
I had Kentucky winning the entire event, starting with a massive statement win tonight, assuming Lamont was going to be there. But now it's just like they can. And I think probably more likely than you think, because of the circumstance, because of the environment, and maybe some freshness for Kentucky coming off a game, some rust maybe with Alabama. They haven't played up to this point, so like there's some things that could work in their favor, but it's gonna be tough. It really is gonna be tough. There's a reason why the spread is 7 right now in favor of the Tide. Crimson Tide are very, very good. They're deserving of a potential number 1 seed. A lot of seeding kind of.
Seeding implications. Absolutely. Kentucky's still that 3 seed, according to Lenardi.
That just came out today, number 3 seed. Last night,
did he have like the numbers? Or they at 9 or 10?
Last night it was at 10, but there were some, Texas A&M losing, Texas jumping into the field.
Iowa State lost as well.
Iowa State losing was a really, really big one. So win tonight, unlikely but possible. Win tonight, and you are firmly in that number 2 seed conversation. And I mean, that might be worth the just pushing all your chips in and just seeing if you can get to tomorrow and see what happens. But there is a lot on the line with this game. If you are able to steal a win, I mean, you could be kind of, writing your own path in March with a number 2 seed. That'd be massive.
I will say Kentucky is on a 3-game SEC winning streak, first time all season. They are still playing some of the individual players like Kobe, playing the best basketball of the season right now. Andrew Carr. Second half wasn't that great last night. The first half was really good. Still kind of playing his best basketball of the season. Colin Chandler playing his best basketball of the season. Brandon Garrison, we haven't really talked about. His stat line doesn't stick out. 5 points, three rebounds in 20 minutes. But he had some really good moments there. We didn't really see much from Amari last night. I was kind of curious about why that was. It just felt like there was a lot of long stretches, and it made my conspiracy brain go back to the Missouri game where he had that 5-minute stretch in the second half where he didn't play. Steven saw him on the exercise bike. It's like, okay, is this, is everything good with him, or is this maybe let's see if we can get by this game and save Amari because we know we're going to need him against Cliff Amore and or how do you say, is it Amore?
Yeah,
Amore. And Grant Nelson. Yeah, I think that's actually how I remember it. Is that little jingle? But so, yeah, it'll be nice. It's gonna be tough.
Let me throw a stat at you.
Give me one.
This might change your mind.
Okay.
Kentucky is 17-2 all time in the SEC tournament against Alabama. Have absolutely crushed.
Does that stat say how many times Alabama was the higher seed? Because I'd be interested to know that. I would assume Kentucky's the higher.
1-1 in ranked versus ranked matchups.
Okay.
Is the closest that we've gotten to per this Adam Luckett.
Nice.
Little ditty from
Shout out.
Adam Luckett. But yeah, they're the first Alabama's trying to get its first SEC tournament win over Kentucky since 1983.
Wow.
It's been a minute.
Damn. That actually is a long time. Okay. Well, yeah, sure. History is on Kentucky's side then. Unfortunately, Lamont Butler is the guy that I think really dictates this game. So I don't know. I can just say it over and over again. It's gonna be tough. But I do think you have to shoot better than 8 for 24 from 3, like you did last night. That has to be a better improvement. You got to get to that double-digit mark if you're going to keep pace with this Alabama team, just in terms of their shooting and scoring, and they're still a top 5 offense in the country. You still have to combat that.
It's going to have to be closer to the LSU game where you get 43 combined bench points.
Yeah.
Where you're going to have to get Brandon Garrison to go for 15. You're going to have
Ainsley's going to have a big stretch.
Somebody is going to have to be whoa, there's a very clear outlier here on the bench. You have to have somebody.
Well, and that was what's nice about last night's game is you had Trent Noah had a good first half. He had those. He had 6 rebounds. I think all 4 of his points as well. All those came in the first half. So big moments from him. You had Ainsley Almanora in the second half where he had a bucket. Then 2 possessions later had a put back in a bucket. Big stretch from him. Brandon Garrison down the stretch there had some big minutes. Travis Perry's probably going to have to come in and hit a couple threes. You're just going. A lot of things are going to have to go Kentucky's way for this too. But the defense is still fine. I don't know if they, took a massive hit last night from whatever the defensive metrics looked like. Oklahoma still kind of shot the ball well, but I don't think Kentucky got outclassed on that end of the floor. I think Oklahoma hit a bunch of tough shots, especially from Fears and Moore there at the end. You had some outside shooters that don't hit threes. Were hitting threes. You had the white kid Forsyth hit 6 points in a matter of 2 minutes. And a couple of them were okay, come on, this is the kid that's coming. This is the freshman from Oklahoma. I'll be fine if Jeremiah Fears is hitting these shots, but if this guy's going to come in and hit them, man, that's tough. So they had some just kind of some good moments of hitting tough shots. But Alabama's also a tough shot making team. We've seen Mark Sears. He's going to get a good whistle. I'm sure foul trouble could easily be an issue. Always he's going to have to be very smart. Because I think in that Alabama game was what really screwed him over was the foul trouble early on. He might have had 4 fouls early in the second half.
That's when we got that question to Mark Pope. So what did Alabama do to limit Otega Oweh to just 2 points? And it was, are you trying to bait me into an answer here?
I was no, but I want you to, if you want to take the bait, go for it, buddy.
He said, Alabama's a really good defensive team, which at the time they were horrific defensively in the metrics. So it was a very tongue-in-cheek. The refs bailed him out because, Mark Sears is Mark Sears, and he somehow gets 2018 James Harden whistle for reasons I really don't know. He's a NIL merchant here in the college basketball world with no NBA future. But, hey, that's all right. Good for him. Glad he's making a lot of money. And,
get your bag, buddy.
Scoring a bunch. Yeah, no fault. Well, do you want to roll into picks? Or
let's wrap up here. Steven, do you know how long we've been going? Does it say?
32 minutes.
Perfect. Let's go and end it.
Look at that. All right, so our Monticello Bank picks of the day. We already know. We can check in. By the time you guys watch this, we will know. 2-point game. Auburn, Ole Miss, 46-44 with 8 minutes left. So by the time you watch this, we'll know the result. So celebrate with if it's a big time upset with Auburn. Go get them. We'll, go Rebels. But hopefully we'll see. So we won't pick that game, but we can go the rest of
give them to me.
Give them to me. The rest of the day's game. Of course, I don't have the thing pulled up. So let's start with Kentucky, and we'll pick the other ones first.
Okay, Kentucky, Alabama. I'm going Alabama 88, Kentucky 82. For all the reasons we've just spent the last 30 minutes talking about, I think Kentucky is going to keep this close. It's going to be a fun game. The crowd's going to be awesome. I just don't think they'll have the legs or the players in the final 2 segments to do enough to win this game.
Yeah, unfortunately, it does just kind of have that, that's exactly what happened in Tuscaloosa, where it's Kentucky was given all of the best blows, hit after hit after hit, and then it's just all right, we're running out of gas, and then Alabama had just a little bit more gas, and it led to a double-digit win. So I don't think it's going to be I don't think it's going to be that big of a win. I think it's going to be tighter than we probably expect. I think it's going to be let's go 85-80 Alabama.
Okay.
Unfortunately, it's sad that we may have to go home on Saturday, but it's been a fun ride. Hopefully,
it really has.
Hopefully, we are both wrong there. The other games this afternoon: Texas, Tennessee. How do we think that one's going to go?
Well, Texas should. Watching that Texas A&M game yesterday was honestly just super annoying. Both those teams did not deserve to win that game at all, but Texas was the one that ended up coming out on top. I'm going to go Tennessee, though. Texas has already played 2 games. I just think it's going to be hard for them to have enough left in the tank to beat a team like Tennessee that's really going to try and grind it out on defense and just make life tough for them. Trey Johnson wasn't at his best yesterday as well. They're going to they're going to really make life tough for him. So I'll go Tennessee, probably pretty comfortably in that one, actually.
They are a 9.5-point favorite.
I didn't. That sounds right.
Yeah, so I agree. We're going Tennessee in that one, and then Florida in Missouri is the appetizer for ours.
That'll be a fun one. I'll say
Spread's
Florida.
8.5. Florida.
For Florida, I'll go Florida. Missouri, they came into this tournament on a 3-game losing streak, thanks to Kentucky at the end there. They got turned that around yesterday with a really nice win. But yeah, I'm going to go with the favorite as well, Florida in that one. No reason or anything. I just think they're the better team.
Mark Mitchell got a little banged up yesterday. His status is somewhat in doubt, somewhat in question going into this one. I honestly, I would probably pick Mizzou to pull off the upset if I was confident that Mark Mitchell would be at full strength. I think Mark Mitchell's a really good player, interesting matchup for that Florida team.
Yeah.
If he were at 100%, I think I would pick the Tigers, but I have a hard time seeing it. I think Florida's going to win, but I think Mizzou covers.
Okay.
And then we'll see. Hopefully Auburn is able to, or hopefully Ole Miss is able to pull off this upset against Auburn and really shake up this bracket and maybe add some magic to this Friday. It's beautiful out. I'm hoping that we get to, pull off some more March Madness magic this evening, and it's gonna be a late one. Are you ready for another 10:30 p.m. start?
Just no overtime games today. I think if there's no overtimes, we're looking at a 10 o'clock or earlier start, and I'm fine with that. I can work with that as long as we don't get into a whistle fest at the end of regulation and the game ends up going into 2 a.m. or something like that. So I'm fine with it. I'm ready. I woke up ready, energetic. I'm jazzed. We watched the replay of last night's game. It had me pumped up. So I'm ready for it. We'll see how I feel around 5 o'clock later today. That was around the time yesterday where I was starting to get a little bit of a crash. So we'll see. But I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it.
I am as well. It's going to be a good time. Hopefully the Cats are able to pull it off and we can continue to celebrate down here in Nashville. Shout out to our friends at SeatGeek. Shout out Monticello Bank. Club Blue, as always, our presenting and Rowback. My goodness, dude, I got so many compliments yesterday on that rep.
We saw other people with the Rowbacks too.
Unbelievable. So use promo code KSR for all your best Rowback gear, and hopefully we get to celebrate a big-time win and keep this train rolling down here in Nashville. We're having a good time. Hopefully it continues that way. We'll see you on the other side. Go Cats.